Harry freaking Potter. As you can tell from the Ravenclaw jumper, I'm a Ravenclaw, okay? I like critical thinking, using my brains, all right? That's just who I am. And obviously you can tell from someone who has purchased a Ravenclaw jumper. These things are expensive. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. However, I'm finding it more and more difficult to stand by that sentence in the present tense. I am a Harry Potter fan versus I was a Harry Potter fan. And I definitely feel like I'm not the only one here, and that's why I'm making this video, because I want to voice my opinions on what's happening. I hate being a negative person, okay? I have that slight Hufflepuff tendency. I feel like no matter what fandom you're a part of, it's always good to have some critical reasoning. Let's say you really don't like a certain musician, it's still okay to acknowledge that they have a song that you really like. That's okay. The same goes for if you really love a musician, but it's okay to say, this one song wasn't for you. Maybe it wasn't that good for you. The same goes for books. You can really love the Harry Potter universe, but it's okay to be critical of certain aspects of it. The same definitely goes for YouTubers. People put YouTubers up on this huge pedestal and think, they're YouTubers, they're infallible, they will never lead me astray. Not true, okay? YouTubers are humans just like you. Except for some. Some are reptilian shapeshifters, but that's a topic for a different video. What I'm getting at, it's okay to not like things, just don't be a dick about it. So let's have a discussion. When I was a young boy, I saw on the living room chair a book that was given by my grandmother to my older brother, but he didn't like reading. I picked it up, I was gonna see what it's about. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm American, okay? I finished reading that so fast, it was so good. Turns out there was a sequel. So I was like, Mom, I need this book. So she runs and gets me the sequel. Turns out another one was coming out the next month. From that point on, I was hooked. I went to every single midnight release of the books. I loved the community about it. I loved how everyone was reading them, that all my friends were like, oh my God, have you read the new Harry Potter? What do you think's gonna happen? Like, it was such an exciting time to be alive and be part of this fandom. And that's why I will never say Harry Potter was bad, okay? I love Harry Potter. Love it to death. And then when I finally finished that 7th book and I closed the last page, it was like finishing a delicious cup of tea. You know, it was over. The finality was good. It was like saying goodbye to a friend. I was sad, of course, but it felt right. And then when the movies kept going, it was also exciting. I went to every midnight release and then they ended. And I was like, you know, they changed some things, but still, this is kind of just how I imagined it. Good job, JK. Good job, team. What a great film. What a great book series. Harry Potter lives on in my heart. Now the issue is, it doesn't have to live on in your heart. It can keep living on forever. It's a franchise. Let's just keep on working with it. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think if you went back to 2007 and said, hey, 17-year-old Evan, guess what? There's gonna be more Harry Potters. I'd be like, really? I think I'd be a bit more excited. But maybe that's because I didn't know what direction they'd be heading in. And then came Cursed Child. Now, if you haven't seen Cursed Child yet, that's okay. I have. I was lucky enough to see it within the first week because, like I said, I was a big Harry Potter fan. The fact that it's going to be made into a play, this extra story, that sounds exciting, right? I mean, you may have read the script, but when I saw they released a script for it, I was like, oh, that's weird. Who'd want to read a script of something? I guess people that can't go to London to see it, so I'm blessed that I live in London, but... Thank you, motorcycle. Is that Hagrid? Is he just coming on by giving me a freaking baby? Now the biggest gripe I feel like everyone has with Cursed Child is that it's written like a fan fiction, which is a bit surprising, because a fan fiction is when a fan of a certain universe takes that universe and writes their own story from it. Would you be surprised to know that that's literally what Cursed Child is? It was not written by J.K. Rowling, it was written by Jack Thorne, a proclaimed fan of the series, and also a Ravenclaw. Though I'm not gonna say all Ravenclaws are like Jack Thorne, okay? Not all Ravenclaws. So it is with this information that I'd like to say, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is fan fiction. It is not canon at all. The only reason they threw Harry Potter and the at the front was for those hot ticket sales, okay? Now JK's tried writing books without Harry Potter on the title before, but we all know how those sales have gone. I mean, they didn't really leave a casual vacancy on the bookshelf, have they? Oh, shoot! So in Cursed Child, or as I like to call it, Back to the Future 2 with wizards, Albus Severus Potter, Harry's last son, is on his way to Hogwarts, but he feels like he'll never get out of his father's shadow. That's an interesting story starter, right? Like, that's where I'm like, ooh, things aren't necessarily all sunshine and rainbows in the future. This could get good. Sadly, this good story didn't really develop from there, and at this point, it just goes straight into time travel. Why? So that way, they can go back into the Harry Potter universe and mess stuff up. Harry Potter, for the most part, it's done, right? You think the 7 books, the 8 movies, this is what happened. Cursed Child goes, no, let's just go right in there and let's just move stuff around. Let's just be like, oh, what if Cedric possibly turned into a Death Eater in a different timeline? Oh, okay. Also, what if Hermione, right? Let's think of Hermione. The smartest character. She's like my favorite character in the entire series. She's really independent, can do anything, you know, smartest girl in the world. Cool. Great witch. Cursed Child's like, oh, you know Hermione? You know that smart girl? She's gonna make a puzzle to hide this incredibly dangerous time turner that an 11-year-old could solve. That's literally questions that are so simple. Now, counterpoint, Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, the puzzles that Harry solved. True, I guess, but this is Hermione. Okay, Hermione's really smart. Okay, that's just one problem with Hermione. Second problem, in the timeline where Ron and Hermione don't get together, Hermione becomes a depressing teacher at Hogwarts. What? What type of Hermione is this? This is not book Hermione. This is not movie Hermione. That Hermione didn't need no one, okay? She could do anything. She could become Minister of Magic with no one helping her out. She's Hermione freaking Granger. However, in the play, she's some like, I need Ron to survive. Without Ron, I'm depressed and I'm going to be a mean teacher. That makes no sense. They've rewritten the character because it's not the character from the books. This is a different thing. And that's why, like I said, I'm driving this home, Cursed Child is not canon. It's more of an icon. But Evan, stop focusing on the negatives. Isn't there a lot of positives too? I mean, the acting was really good. The effects were really cool. But let's just say you're reading a book. Is there any acting? Is there any effects? No, what's the most important part? The plot, the storyline. In Cursed Child, that is the weakest of all the parts of the play, and that's the most important part for me, and so that is why I disliked it so heavily. Like, yes, the effects are great, and the acting is good, and the voices of the characters are cool, but so much of it as well felt like a big, like, memberberry trip, where it's like, you're a wizard, Harry. A what? Yes, that scene is literally in Cursed Child. Why, you might ask? That's 20 years in the future. Because member? Do you remember that? Remember seeing that in the theaters? Wasn't that a good memory? Let's just bring it back with a Harry Potter nightmare. Oh man, Ginny, I'm so sorry. I had a nightmare back from 20 years ago. Do you guys remember that scene though? Oh, here's another one. Oh, it's Hagrid coming up on a motorcycle. It was so much geared to be like, guys, remember, it's Harry Potter. Because so much of it felt like it wasn't Harry Potter anymore. So as long as we accept that Cursed Child isn't canon, it's an okay play. The story's a bit weird, but as long as I'm like, cool fan fiction, I'm not that upset about it. Did you guys see it or read it yet? You could share your thoughts in the comments. That'd be appreciated. But I think it's time we move on to the other hippogriff in the room. Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Because, I mean, a hippogriff is a beast, so fantastic. Now, on its surface, I like Fantastic Beasts. Why? It's its own story in the universe. Here's the Harry Potter universe. Here's what Harry Potter, the 7 books are. Fantastic Beasts is over here. Cursed Child was right here. And it was punching it! But Fantastic Beasts, its own story. Great, good job, JK. You're making a different story, different characters. I love it. It was a good attempt to make something else in the universe that wasn't Cursed Child. I think comparing it to Cursed Child, Fantastic Beasts is like amazing. But then again, comparing it to Harry Potter, it's not at all. However, let's look at Fantastic Beasts without comparing it at all, okay? Let's think about it as just its own standalone film. I know there's 4 more films to come. I know, but let's just talk about the one that just came out. Funny enough, the biggest gripe I have with Fantastic Beasts is that because they're American, they can't come up with a cool slang word like muggle. Like, muggle is a silly word, you could say, sure, but it was an invented word, right? It was invented for the book. No-maj? Really? Really? No-maj! Oh, that's, I know that's a stupid thing to complain about. I'm not gonna say that's a gripe with the movie. That's just me personally going, oh, okay, all Americans, we're all stupid. No-maj, he's got no magic. What do we call him? A no-maj? That's a great idea. Whatever. That personal thing aside, this is the world of Harry Potter, okay? We have wizards, we have witches, we have spells. And yet, for a movie that takes place in the same universe, there's a surprising lack of magic. For instance, there's a lot of scenes that are fight scenes where people are dueling. Not one spell is cast. There's a scene where Newt is like being attacked and is like rolling to avoid shots. And the person attacking isn't saying anything. It's almost like they could have replaced the wands with guns. He's just flicking his, boom, magic. I'm just doing magic. Woo, 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 I'm a magician. That's, what? What's going on here? Also, there's a very big scene when this giant beast is trying to get into a teapot and there's like a bug flying across the screen. We have 3 wizards, by the way, in the scene. No, we have 2 wizards, okay, and 1 no-maj. We'll give him an out here. Like, he didn't necessarily know. How did one of the other 2 wizards, none of them thought, Accio teapot? Accio bug? Maybe, the wand I'm holding has magic? What? There's so many scenes where you're like, that could have been solved with magic. Ooh, could you use magic? Oh, magic. Oh, but no, it creates more drama. I mean, I get it. I get why. It's almost like that scene in Twilight where like Edward gets choked and it's like, he doesn't need to breathe. Okay, I know my Twilight, okay? There's also a bit of an annoying thing when the unlovable male character meets a hot female, and as soon as they make eye contact, I whisper to the girl next to me, I said, I really hope they don't go down this road. The common, repetitive trope of unattractive man gets really hot woman. Guess what? Great writing. It's just, there we go. It's gonna, oh, there's no one like you. Okay, I guess. I don't, like, that's just such a common trope. You couldn't have done something else. Why? Like, I like what Fantastic Beasts tried to do. It tried to do something new. And for that, I honestly would give it a 7 out of 10. As a film, not comparing it to anything, 7 out of 10. You did your best, you know, you found those beasts and there's 4 more. I mean, I'm not even gonna get into the Johnny Depp controversy or anything like that. We'll just, but there's this part deep within me that just knows what's wrong with Cursed Child and Fantastic Beasts, and that it just feels like extra. It feels extra. It's not as good as the original, and it's just kind of tacked on. And I don't want anything else tacked on. I don't want JK to just tweet something tomorrow like, by the way, Albus has 8 middle names. One of them's John. Well, great. Now I have to reread the books and go, Albus John. Like, I know that's a really weird analogy. I'm just saying, when the books ended for me, that's when the story ended. Anything extra can be great, sure, but I'm not considering it part of this Harry Potter story that I grew up with. I love Harry Potter, the 7 books. They're amazing. The movies, they're great. I'm just gonna leave it there. The new stuff, I'm not even gonna say it's for another generation, because if it is for the next generation, I feel bad for them. Like, I honestly do. Anyway, that is everything that I've been feeling recently. I feel like my whole heart's been at a crossroads, because one side's like, I want more Harry Potter, and the other side's like, let it die. But I'd like to hear your thoughts, so if you've seen Cursed Child or Fantastic Beasts, or if you read either of them, also, they made a screenplay of a movie, like a cash grab. I'm sorry, are you in a different generation to me? Did you not grow up with it, and you're like, this is not that bad, Evan? I don't know what you're talking about. Do you feel like it's canon? Like, is that an argument that you're going to agree with here? Or do you really want everything to work and you're like telling yourself it's okay? Just so you know, like I said earlier, it's okay to like Harry Potter and be critical of certain elements. I like to think critically about some of these things, especially as it's something as much as I love, like Harry Potter. So tell me in the comments, and if you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up below. That'd be great. Subscribe and bell me. You know, that's what people do. I make new videos every Sunday. It's a magical time on Evan Edinger's channel. So I'll see you guys next week for a fun video with my friend Dodie. See you guys then. Goodbye. Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. In my butt. Maybe if I go back in time and save Cedric Diggory, my father will finally love me. When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. He said, will you defeat them, Dementors, with all your Expecto Patronums? The chances we have made, what?